we tend to rush, right? And we when you get caught up in looking left and looking right, what ends up happening is you start thinking of it as a race or a competition, and you start to disrespect your process. You start to think of it as a race instead of a journey, instead of an adventure. And you start putting yourself in the idolization of someone else and where they're at versus where you are with what you have. What you got to realize is the importance out and to ensure that you are making progress towards the things that you want to design. Because let me tell you this, a life lived by design is a life best lived. And a genius without a roadmap, no matter how smart they are, is going to get lost in any country. So make sure. What's good, creative fam? This is your boy Vince. I hope everyone's blessed and doing well. Today, we're going to talk about something that constantly comes up in one's journey. You know, especially when they're going to pursue their business venture, starting their dreams, or just trying to elevate and grow in life and anything. I think that we tend to rush, right? And we when you get caught up in looking left and looking right, what ends up happening is you start thinking of it as a race or a competition, and you start to disrespect your process. You start to think of it as a race instead of a journey, instead of an adventure. And you start putting yourself in the idolization of someone else and where they're at versus where you are with what you have. What you got to realize is the importance that it's not a race, and that it doesn't matter how far or long it takes you, just that you get there. And that's why it's so important to set benchmarks, to set goals, and to make sure that you're tracking your progress, because that will keep you focused. You know, a lot of you guys are constantly on social media scrolling, constantly on the news, right? And when you look at those things, what happens is it takes you out of where you're at. And that's why you got to practice the most important thing of creating a version of you, because there is no other spirit or individual that can mimic who you are, and you cannot do the same. Actually, when you do that, you now are positioning yourself for disappointment and coming up short, because now you're trying to mimic someone else, someone you're not. And that's why it's so important to create yourself. Create before you consume. What does that mean? You guys hear me say that constantly. It means to actually create what you want and not create and settle for what's out there. You know, when you're creative, there's two types of people, right? There's those who go where they can fit in, which most do. Maybe 95% of society, they're going wherever they can fit in, whatever crowd they can fit in, whatever job will accept them, instead of going in places where they make room for them to fit. So I'm going to say that again because it's so important, and it's what makes creatives different from individuals. Is there's individuals that go where they fit, and there's individuals that go and make room so they can fit. You got to choose which one you're going to be. You got to choose which one, you got to make a decision. You can be like everyone else, but a lot of people today, they make the mistake of, popularity. They mistake popularity for success. That's the new idolism of success. Who has the most followers? Who has the most views? Actually, if you want to get technical here, go look at any celebrity. Go look at anyone out there, right? I guarantee you they have more views than they do likes on their videos. Because people are constantly spectating versus playing. And that's important. You got to choose which one you're going to be. You could be watching everyone else's game, or you could be playing yours. The decision is yours. It's so important that you take advantage of this. And if you haven't already, go watch my video where I talk and emphasize and help you take the necessary steps so that you can set goals that are system, where that way you're not just, making a wish. This isn't a just wish foundation. This is where you actually take action steps, a plan of action. If you have a business, it's important that you get it on paper. You know, if you even write your goals on paper, you're already ahead of the majority of the society, because most people just sit in here. And what happens is when you keep your thoughts in here, you just overthink. Think of it like a computer, or when you got so many tabs open in your computer and it starts running slow. That's exactly what the mind's like, except we're not computers. So what you want to make sure you do is you have to avoid the distractions of not looking left and right. And simply, how do you do that? Shut off all notifications. Stop binge watching the news. Stop watching the news at all. Actually, take a fast away from the news. Take a fast from social media if your behavior associated with it is unhealthy. You know, because what happened is a lot of people may not watch the news, right? But you're on social media looking at other people's news. And I'm not saying it's not good to, you know, give people a round of applause and wish them well. But what happens is it takes you away from your distraction. And now you're worrying about what everyone else is doing versus focusing on what you need to be doing. Because watching them is not going to bring you any further in your journey unless you are looking with the right intentions to learn. But if you're randomly doing it, it's not intentional, it's reactive now. And what happens is that turns into envy, which is unhealthy to your journey, to helping you go any further than where you're at. Instead, it's going to stall you and do the opposite. So make sure you get focused, laser focused, and you start writing down the action steps that you need to do. New rule: if it is not moving you forward in your journey, then it is taking you back. How bad do you really want it? You guys heard E.T. the hip hop preacher say that. How bad do you really want it? I want you to ask yourself that. What are you willing to do should be the question of how bad you want it, because that's going to be what determines it. And you got to give yourself the real compelling reasons to help you understand why. Why are you doing it? You know, reasons come first, results come second. So make sure you have a reason for why you're doing it, right? And then focus. And now it's going to be that much more easier to stay disciplined along in your journey. So if you got something out of this video, make sure you comment below what you're committed to doing. I also left some goodies in the links. And there's a goal planner. Make sure you go check that out to help you walk through creating the rituals and systems necessary to help you see your goals out and ensure that you are making progress towards the things that you want to design. Because let me tell you this, a life lived by design is a life best lived. And a genius without a roadmap, no matter how smart they are, is going to get lost in any country. So make sure you're mapping your journey out and you're taking action accordingly. Create, build, sustain, and all you do. This your boy Vince. You already know what it is. Bless up.
Living for weekends, wishing I could take a break from this world.